No matter how divided your family is this Thanksgiving, it could be worse. You could be one of the counties across America that are trying to separate from their mother states. At least you all are at the same table. Greater Idaho, New Illinois, and New California are all ideas being put forth to create new states. Red rural communities would like to break away from big blue cities. New Illinois would take 7.5 million people from ruby red Illinois, create a new state apart from, you guessed it, Chicago. Those proposing these delusions say they are tired of having to pay for the debts of blue cities. Research from Paul Simon Public Policy Institute shows rural counties, in their estimates, greatly benefit from the funding going into those big cities. John Jackson, the co-author of the research, told the Wall Street Journal it's a ridiculous thing they want because we would be a third world country without the kind of money we get back from the state of Illinois. Think about that. With us now, G.H. Merritt, founder of New Illinois, and Illinois State Rep. Brad Halbrook. Nice to see both of you. G.H., start with you first. In shortest possible way, succeeding from Illinois and creating New Illinois would help you and your supporters how?
Well, to start with, we never use the word secede. This isn't secession. It's the constitutional formation of a new state. You can say separate. Okay?
Separate.
And how will it benefit us? The key thing that we're looking for is representative government. We live in a state that is dominated by one county that has 40% of the population, and they dominate the rest of the state that has 60% of the population. And we don't look at this as a party issue, really. It's a result of the Reynolds v. Sims ruling in 1964 that took away any geographic basis for state legislative districts. And so we've been gerrymandered to death since then. The rural people have no voice.
Representative Halbrook, when it comes to the rural issues, and I get the argument, right, that rural counties get services from big counties, and because you've got a state that has Chicago, there's airports and there's other things that you wouldn't have with just a huge rural area. But what would New Illinois look like that you all would be able to do differently than you can now?
Yeah, I think the first thing would probably be legislation, the way it's governed. It used to be that the legislature would put out laws for counties or cities over 2 million or over 3 million, or it would be for counties or cities under that number. But now it's one size fits all. We've seen unconstitutional legislation like the Safety Act of 4 years ago that did away with cash bail. Most recently, we've seen the gun ban, the PICA, Protect Illinois Communities Act of just short of 2 years ago, that just, because the crime is so bad in the city that they just cast this wide net and say all gun owners, law-abiding or otherwise, they've got to be regulated and their weapons seized from them or taken away from them or not able to use what they have. They have to turn them in, if you will, or register them. And so it's just this really bad policy ideas that are wrecking the way the rest of the state of Illinois runs. Rather than try to fit into a more regionalized approach. So I think it would be kind of the way it's governed, the legislation.
I think about the governor. I look things much more as values-based than perhaps left, right, red, blue based. Here's the governor of Illinois talking about an issue that's become a huge issue across the state of illegal immigration and Donald Trump's promise to deport illegal immigrants. Take a listen.
To anyone who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans, I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people, you come through me.
G.H. Merritt, does J.B. Pritzker represent you and your communities well?
Absolutely not. In fact, he mischaracterizes what we're doing. And I know he went to Duke and he got his law degree at Northwestern. So I'm sure he knows better than this. We're not trying to kick Chicago out of Illinois. We're trying to kick ourselves out. We don't think he represents us. He wants to represent a lot of the new immigrants. And so he talks about, you know, dignity for his people that he's going to protect. And I'm sorry, that's baloney.
That's a pretty clear answer. Representative Halbrook, yeah, not a lot of left of wiggle room in that. How much of this is about money?
You know, let me just address the budget issue under Governor Pritzker. Since he's been in office, the budget has grown over 30%. I think it's over $13 billion growth in the 5 years that he's been here. The next 5-year projection is to be short $23 billion, and the next fiscal year is something like $3.2 billion short, plus or minus, depending on which way you see expenses going or which way you see revenue going. You know, there's always this argument that downstate can't survive without Chicago. Well, you know, when you look at the numbers, you look how bad and how underwater the city of Chicago is in Cook County, it's like, why wouldn't they be the first in line to cut off the rest of the state of Illinois and keep all that money that they say they're subsidizing downstate
Yeah, Chicago may not be able
to
survive without downstate. And you think about how many people are getting out of Chicago, that may be the better thing. Well, thank you both for coming. We appreciate it. Obviously, Chicago and J.B. Pritzker have a different feeling about this than you two, but keep up the good fight and let us know how it's going, all right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you both.